Howdy folks, I'm back for some more cluster training and I'm here using bands. I just did deadlifts with y'all and now I'm gonna move to upper body pressing since I just did lower body pulling, and I'm gonna do a single arm overhead press. I'm opting for a vertical press because I want some overhead work on my shoulder stability and my scap mobility, a little more core strength too, as opposed to a vertical push, which would be like a push-up when you're using bands. So I don't have my purple band. Normally I would use the purple band, I think. So I'm gonna go with the green band, which means the volume might be a little bit lower than I would prefer or typically do on an overhead press. That's very stability. Stability is the limiting factor, but I have pretty stable shoulders and I'm always into keeping things safe. So I pull the plug when I need to. You gotta have that discipline to pull the plug when things are deviating from optimal form. And that way your risk to reward ratio stays in a favorable zone. So a single arm overhead press is kind of an anomaly with cluster training. Usually with cluster training, you would want to do a bilateral exercise, an exercise that you can do both legs or both arms at the same time. But here's my goal. Always trying to get creative, think outside of the box, but stay productive and know what my intention is. Since with cluster training, you don't want to rest any more than 15 seconds. And I say 15, but 20 is kind of the ultimate rule. But I say 15 to keep people on track. Because if you think you're giving yourself 15 seconds and you take another breath and then you get set up, it's 20 seconds. So I say 10 to 15 seconds. Since this band is heavier than I would typically do with a single arm overhead press, I'm not even sure how many reps I'll get in with this. I'm gonna switch right side, left side, right side, left side. And since I guesstimate that I'm not gonna be doing a lot of reps, no more than several, in the first cluster. After that, I'll probably have to move down in reps because the cluster is such a short rest, pause, break. The reps may decrease significantly depending on the exercise. With something like upper body pushing, your work capacity hits a wall very quickly. You decrease in performance right away. Since I'm going back and forth, not doing a ton of reps, while one side is working, the other side is resting, and that should adhere to my rest pause. No more than 15, maybe 20 seconds. We'll see. I'll look back at the video. Let me pad you with this blanket this towel a little bit more in case you fall off the tripod. So that is my goal, to implement cluster training in a single-sided exercise, bust out my reps in a timely enough manner to where I'm not resting any more than 15, 20 seconds max from one side to the other. With bands, it is appropriate to go higher volume, and this is going to be a very high volume band cluster session as far as with overhead press and with the big green band goes, but I should accumulate a decent amount of volume. Like, let's say I do 5 reps over and over and end up doing 25 reps on each arm. That is high volume for one set. It's not like a barbell where you might be doing 3 reps initially, rest pause, get 1 more rep in, rest pause, get 1 more rep in, and be done with it. Then you finish at 5 reps, but that's for strength. And this is also for strength in a way, but different tool, different characteristics. This one's more like, medium volume. So as far as strength goes, it's like not hypertrophy because there's no eccentric phase, but it's kind of a little bit of upper body stamina. All right, let's see how this goes. See if I can position you so that you can see me. All right, cool. I don't know how many reps, we'll find out. It's always performance based. See how this band is behind my back foot. I like to hold my core to make sure I'm engaging it, feel it, recruit. Pretty tough. I'm gonna cut it there, it's getting a little unstable. Switch sides right away, time is of the essence. You can see it really challenging my core. I'm trying to stay still. I'm super anal about keeping things even, so I'm gonna go to 8 on this side too. I don't imagine that was more than 15-20 seconds. Don't think I'm gonna be able to do 8 again, but that's a good thing, because I'm doing these clusters right. Seven. I'm definitely not gonna be able to get 7 again. I'm giving you a side view so you can see I'm not wrapping the band around my body. I'm trying to keep it off my body. Whew. 6. This is pretty consistent, dropping 1 rep at a time. Whew, tell you what, I'm actually gonna cut it there. And remember, cluster sets are not drop sets, so I'm not gonna move down to an easier band and keep going. That's a different type of intensity technique and work capacity technique all around. Now, I cut it there. I did 8, 7, 6. I'm actually very happy with that. The reason I cut it, I don't believe that with something like a banded overhead press that's very stability dominant. That's really the limiting factor, is the shoulder stability. I don't think I should go so heavy on a stability based exercise to where I can only do 5 or less reps. 5 might be okay if I was more fresh, but I was in a fatigue state right there. Yes, I had the strength and force production to get through a rep, but things were starting, I could tell I was losing control a little bit. And maybe I could have got through a set of 5. So you gotta pick and choose your battles. And you gotta invest your training monies, your energy wisely. And so maybe I could have done 5, but the risk of instability and having that band, what happens when you're doing something like a banded overhead press, if things really fall apart, you get one of these reps. You push the band up, and then all of a sudden it like pulls your arm out of alignment, tweaks your shoulder, your elbow. I've seen it happen plenty of times, and it's something that you want to avoid at all costs. Remember, that's the whole point of training, is to optimize your risk to reward ratio so you get the biggest benefit in training stimulus based on your intentions, what your objectives are. So that went really well. Did 8, 8, 7, 7, 6, 6, so that's 21 reps on each side. I think I did a pretty good job of staying in the rest pause parameters of 15-ish, 20 seconds max. What's also nice is as I went down a rep and then another rep, it's easier to adhere to that short rest pause, because remember, with cluster training, you want to rest no longer, I say 15 seconds, but no longer than strictly 20 seconds for it to be the same cluster set. In cluster training, it is effective because of that minimal rest break, so you can just get a little bit more work in. All right, so that was fun. Give it a go, and I will be back with some more cluster training with bands, and I think I'll move to back to a lower body exercise. See you in a sec.